stay tuned, because what you are about to learn can shake the very essence of British politics. Keir Starmer's leadership is teetering on the edge of a precipice as a shocking scandal threatens to destroy the Labour Party like a house of cards. In Southport, rumours of corruption broke out, escalating into loud protests, and well-known investigative journalist Isabel Oakeshott revealed a story that could be fatal for Starmer's political career. This is not just another political drama. This is a real battle for the trust of the people, which can be lost forever. Will this be the turning point that the public is waiting for, or will the Labour Party again try to hush up this scandal under a veil of secrecy? The stakes have never been so high.
What is he talking about? I mean, that video is just so much guff, isn't it? Nothing means anything. I'm so sick of hearing politicians in leadership positions talking about delivering.
Yes.
They're not pizza drivers, are they? They're not Deliveroo people delivering takeaways. Nobody knows what any of this stuff means. And I've seen him at it again today when he's talking about why he feels the need to go all the way over to Brazil for the G20, having just come back from God knows where else, Azerbaijan and all the other globe-trotting he's doing. And he always starts his sentence with, let's be clear.
Yes.
Whenever any politician says, let's be clear, that just means they're playing for time and trying to make themselves sound more important than they actually are, and trying to make what they're about to say sound more significant.
For weeks, rumours of corruption in Southport seemed to be just the usual political backdrop, vague accusations and anonymous tips that rarely lead to anything meaningful. But behind the scenes, Isabel Oakeshott was already conducting an intense investigation, following what many considered inconsequential. What started as quiet whispers soon erupted into a deafening roar as Oakeshott began to reveal irrefutable evidence that could not be ignored. Southport is of enormous importance to the Labour Party. It was supposed to be a symbol of their renewed commitment to the northern communities, a real step towards restoring the trust that had been lost as a result of political failures over the past decade.
Not politicians talking about how they've got a plan and they're going to change things and they're going to return Britain to, whatever. What did he say? Something about the service of public service?
Yeah, the service of the people of Britain, doing what the people want and all this. He's just making it up as he goes along. Nobody wants what he's doing.
Look at the state of the country. Does anyone honestly think that Labour is delivering whatever it is he says they're delivering? They're just delivering more woe, more problems.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at what he's going to miss because he's in Brazil, cozying up to President Xi. He's going to miss the farmers' protest, which is possibly going to be the single biggest issue, which might be a problem for this government and might even bring them down. Jeremy Clarkson apparently is going to be out front leading it. I've been already told by people that I know inside of the police who are suggesting that they might try and stop them from getting down to Westminster because they're frightened, they're terrified.
The people of Southport have felt forgotten and ignored for a long time. But as Oakeshott's investigation progressed, it became apparent that those promises had been grossly violated. Southport, once a symbol of hope and change, has become the epicenter of controversy and disappointment. And then the story takes an even darker turn. Leaked reports obtained by Oakeshott reveal the shocking truth. Millions of pounds allocated for the reconstruction of Southport have simply disappeared. These funds, intended for vital projects, upgrading infrastructure, improving public spaces and creating much-needed opportunities for residents, have simply disappeared.
Well, I'm not really surprised that Channel 4 couldn't get its head around the story because they don't have the right judgment. They are out of touch with how viewers and voters feel. This is actually kind of one of the most dangerous stories for a government or political party because it's really quite easily understood. It's just a rich guy, and I actually make no criticism of him. It seems he's played his hand quite well, spraying money and favours around the very top of this government. And people hate that stuff. And they also recall that the last bunch that were the recipients of this kind of largesse were the Tories, and they were the ones partying in Downing Street and so on. And guess who was on their high horse criticising it all? It was this lot. And that's what people hate. They hate the hypocrisy. They hate the perception of these entitled politicians having a great time. And I tell you what else they hate. They hate the lie.
Southport residents have been waiting for Labour's promises, hoping for new roads, better schools and improved public services. What makes this scandal even more egregious is the deafening silence of the Labour Party leadership. Instead of openly and honestly solving the problem, the party seems to be fighting a desperate battle behind closed doors, trying to hush up the consequences. This atmosphere of secrecy only increases suspicion and distrust. How could such a colossal amount of money disappear without leaving a trace? And who, in the end, will be responsible for this? At the center of this scandal was a fearless journalist, whose name has become a symbol of the relentless search for the truth. Known for her bold revelations of high-profile cases, her participation in this investigation turned it from a local problem into a real national crisis, forcing millions of people to think about what is happening behind the scenes of power.
That there have been lies and that there are still lies. So in itself, that setup of the message during lockdown from Lord Ali's flat that was made to look like Keir Starmer's own property, that was a lie.
And that is, for me, possibly the worst and most damaging aspect of this story. That this is a guy who is leading our country, who is the representative of the United Kingdom at the United Nations. You know, he's not the head of state, but he's, you know, the leader of the nation. He has lived a complete lie. I mean, I've said earlier today in the show, I don't know what he gets up to with Lord Ali. I don't know what he does for hours and hours on end at this flat that they seem to be happy to share.
In her spectacular television performance, Oakeshott did not hide her emotions and passion. She vehemently accused the leaders of the Labour Party not only of a complete inability to protect public funds, but also of deliberately concealing information about the missing millions. Her harshest words concerned Keir Starmer, whom she accused of probably knowing about the inconsistencies and perhaps even approving of attempts to hush them up. Her revelations have caused a real storm of indignation in the political community, and now many are beginning to seriously doubt whether the Labour Party is really committed to the principles of transparency or whether this is just an empty formality covering up their true intention. The Oakeshott investigation revealed a murky culture of secrecy within the Labour Party that many suspected but few could. If her accusations are confirmed, this scandal could not only lead to the fall of Starmer's leadership, but also deal an irreparable blow to the reputation of the Labour Party, leaving a trail of distrust and disappointment.
I think there is something bigger going on here, and it's annoying because I don't know what it is. And I know that the lobby of political journalists at Westminster feel the same. All of us instinctively feel that there is some big fact here that we're not being made.
I mean, I'm going to ask the question because nobody else will. Is it some kind of sex thing, do you think?
So there have long been rumours about Keir Starmer's private life, and they certainly aren't to do with any kind of doubts over his sexuality, if I can put it delicately. They are to do with his past and what the shape of his family really looks like. And it wouldn't be fair to go any further than that, but this is an open secret at Westminster that those question marks have been around for a long time.
One of the most disturbing and shocking aspects of this scandal is how the applicants were mistreated. According to the information disclosed by Oakeshott, several brave people who decided to raise the alarm about the missing funds faced incredible opposition. Instead of being rewarded for their bravery, they were subjected to threats, intimidation, and even professional sabotage. Labour's attitude towards them is not just contrary to the party's stated values, such as honesty and law and order. It demonstrates what some members of the leadership are willing to do to preserve their brilliant image. This cynical strategy has led to explosive consequences. The scandal is spreading across the country, causing more and more outrage. The British public takes this very seriously. Petitions demanding a full and independent investigation of the missing millions have collected more than 3 million signatures in record time, which indicates the deep disappointment and anger of citizens.
Because there's been a strong feeling that it's not in the public interest. And the bar for that these days for the press is really quite high. It's a whole different world to where we were in the John Major years. You know, all those sleaze scandals were really just to do with cabinet ministers having affairs, having mistresses. That doesn't wash anymore in modern day Britain. People actually don't care. You know, if one of our cabinet ministers has got a relationship with someone else, who cares?
Political analysts call this a watershed moment, describing it as a powerful collective awakening of a disillusioned electorate. The public has clearly and loudly stated they no longer intend to put up with corruption, secrecy, and unfulfilled promises. Within the Labour Party, the scandal caused a real storm of indignation and indignation. Senior members of parliament, overcome with rage, are demanding emergency meetings to discuss what some call a threat to the very existence of the party. Keir Starmer, who was once considered the man capable of leading Labour into a new era of honesty and progress, is now under siege from all sides. His leadership, which has already been heavily criticised by various factions within the party, is now hanging by comments he has made in the past, such as "if you don't like the changes, the door is open," now sound like cruel irony as calls for his resignation grow louder and more insistent every day. The feeling of anxiety and discontent is growing, and society demands change. What do you think about it? See you.